Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be going over and recapping the Orioles' 6-3 loss to the Cleveland Guardians. The Orioles once again lose another game, and at most now they can, at best, split the series against the Guardians, and that's only if they win the next two games. And we're also going to be talking about the official start of Ravens training camp. The Ravens started their training camp today. Veterans and all players reported officially to training camp today for the Baltimore Ravens. It's an exciting day. Tomorrow is the first day of practice. So tomorrow there's going to be a lot more info regarding training camp than today. But obviously we can celebrate it being the start of training camp today for the Baltimore Ravens. And also something that we can celebrate is today being episode 100 of Birds of a Feather. Again, I appreciate all the support you guys have given me throughout the show for the past 100 days now of doing the show every single day. I appreciate all the love, all of the support, all of the views these guys have given me, all the likes, all the comments, all that stuff. I appreciate all of the support you guys have given me throughout this show so far. And this is really just the beginning of the show, to be honest with you. I plan on doing the show for a super long time. Obviously, we still got the rest of the MLB season, and then obviously the start of football season. And then by the time November hits, it's going to be purely Ravens content for you guys that are interested in the football content on this podcast. So don't worry, there's plenty of football content to be talked about, plenty of things to discuss regarding this very exciting and very high expectation, very high expectation Ravens team for this upcoming NFL season. Obviously, as we know, this Ravens team has extremely high expectations to win a Super Bowl. At this point, it is Super Bowl or bust. I think that we all know that. I'm going to go over the Ravens a little bit more later in this episode as we discuss the start of training camp. But the first thing I'm going to go over is the Orioles and Guardians game. The Orioles in this game were losing early, and they could never get a lead in this game. They were down 1-0, then they were down 2-1, then it was 4-2, and then by the end of the day, the Orioles lost this game 6-3. So it didn't really matter. The Orioles would cut it close, and then the Guardians would just add an extra run, and the Orioles could just never close the gap in this game. So it was a constant uphill battle. The Orioles, I guess, tried their best, but much like a lot of games this season, they fall short and they lose. The Orioles are now officially back to being 12 games now below 500, and we are heading into July 23rd of this 2025 season, and the Orioles are sitting at 12 games below 500. Safe to say, guys, it's over. We kept talking over and over again how around this time, back a couple months ago when the Orioles were struggling, still being multiple games below 500, I said by the time that the trade deadline hits and around, that mid to late July, the Orioles need to be in a position where they're within 3, 4, or 5 games maximum of being below 500, or potentially even being 500, or potentially by some miracle the gods being maybe even above 500 at that time. Unfortunately, the Orioles really have made zero progress. It got down to 18 games below 500 at a certain point in the season. About a month and a half ago, got down to 18 games below 500. The Orioles did a good job at the time of really cutting it close. They got it all the way down to 8 games below 500. But unfortunately, they just went on another losing streak. Not even a losing streak, went on another series of losing games. And all of a sudden now we're back to being 12 games below 500. And we're in a horrible position because every single day that goes by, the Orioles season becomes less and less likely to even have any sort of meaning. And it sucks, man. And I've said that so many times this year that it's so disappointing to see how this team has been and how this team has performed. And obviously, over the next week and a half or so, the trade deadline talks are going to be increasing and be louder every single day as it goes by. And as we get closer to the trade deadline, and obviously the Orioles are one of the premier teams that teams are looking at for the trade deadline. I would say that the Orioles, the Guardians, and probably the Diamondbacks are the 3 teams that a lot of teams are looking at for potential trades. Obviously, the Orioles have a ton of guys going into free agency next year who could 100% help a contending team. But we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what Mike Elias decides to do. We'll see how he decides to manage this next week and a half or so, because it's going to be very, very interesting. But let's just get into this game. So going over this Orioles and Guardians game, obviously the Orioles lose this game 6-3. They are now 44-56 through their first 100 games, and they are 12 games below 500. Going over the Orioles offense, the offense is on both sides in terms of hits. They were even, 7 hits for both teams. The Orioles offense had 7 hits. Got walked 6 times, so they got on base quite a lot. But so did the Guardians. The Guardians had 7 hits, but we walked them 8 times. Yes, I said that correctly. Orioles pitchers walked the Guardians more the times than they actually got hits, which is a crazy stat if you think about it. But the Orioles offense in this game, 7 hits, 6 total walks, 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position, left 7 guys on base. Not a great game by the offense. Obviously, 3 total runs scored. The 7 hits is there, but they just could not get the crucial, timely hits in this game whenever it mattered the most. And also the pitching did sell them a little bit as well. But going over the offense, Jackson Holliday went 1 for 4 with an RBI. Jordan Westburg went 0 for 4. Gunnar Henderson went 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Ramon Laureano. I got to pause for a second and talk about this man, Ramon Laureano. Ramon Laureano in this game goes 1 for 4, but has another home run in this game. He had a home run yesterday. He has another home run today. Ramon Laureano, 1 for 4 with a solo home run in this game. Obviously, the Orioles ended up losing this game, but I really do want to highlight the season that Ramon Laureano is having right now. He has been excellent for this Orioles team, and he is now in a 3-way tie for the most home runs on this Orioles team. Ramon Laureano, Jackson Holliday, and Cedric Mullins all have 13 home runs. And I just want to give this man his flowers real quick, man. He has had such a fantastic season for the Orioles this year. A 279 average, 13 home runs, 41 RBIs, and an 861 OPS for a player who originally was thought to be, not even an everyday player, be kind of a rotational player out in left and right field. And he has become such a vital part of this Orioles team, and dare I say he's having the best season of any Oriole on this team right now. He's leading the team in average, leading the team in homers, and he's right up there in RBIs as well, and I think he's also leading in OPS as well. So Ramon Laureano, for some odd reason, is having such an incredible season this year for the Orioles. He's having one of his best seasons he's had in quite a while. If you go over and look at his stats here recently, back in 2024 when he was with Cleveland and when he was with Atlanta, obviously when he was with Atlanta, he actually had a very solid year. But that year he only had 10 home runs. And the most home runs that he's ever had in a season was in 2019 with the Athletics, where he had 24 homers and 67 RBIs. With a 288 average. So he had a very good year that year, but all of a sudden in his age 31 season, he is having such a great year. And I just want to show this man his flowers because I tweeted it out earlier on my Birds of a Feather account on Twitter. Also, make sure to go give that a follow. Click the link in the bio of whatever platform you're listening on to go give that account a follow. But I was tweeting out and saying, imagine if the Orioles actually had a winning record and actually was in the middle of a wild card or playoff or divisional contention. Could you imagine what Ramon Laureano's stats could have been then, and how much more recognition that he could possibly be getting? Because this man deserves all the praise in the world. He's having such a great season, and I said it earlier on my Twitter as well. I think that this is the best Mike Elias signing that has ever happened in the Mike Elias era since he's been general manager. In terms of a free agent signing, Ramon Laureano is by far the best signing that Mike Elias has ever had. He's having such an incredible year, I can't even really explain it. And obviously, if you're a fan of another team watching the show, this stat line might not seem crazy to you, but for the way that this Orioles season has gone, the Orioles right now, they're 11th or 12th in total home runs hit, but it's not necessarily one player doing all the home runs. It's very much spread out, double digits across multiple players, like Ramon Laureano, like Jackson Holliday, like Cedric Mullins, like Ryan O'Hearn, like Gunnar Henderson, like Jordan Westburg. It's spread out between a lot of players. So that's why the Orioles have a lot of home runs this year. Not necessarily a ton, but that's the stat that they're honestly the best at compared to other teams in, is home runs. Because if you look at the rank and everything else, they're like bottom 5 in every single pitching category, and they're like bottom 10 in almost every single hitting category. So, it hasn't been a great year for the Orioles. We know that, but I just wanted to give a quick little shout-out to Ramon Laureano and really give him his praise for a season that he's having. Cedric Mullins in this game goes 0 for 4. Ramon Urias is the only Oriole in this game with multiple hits. He goes 2 for 4 in this game with a run scored. Colton Cowser goes 1 for 4. Kobe Mayo actually has an excellent game today, and somebody that a lot of Orioles fans, including myself, has really wondered why he hasn't been in the lineup, because before the All-Star break, he was actually having, a pretty nice, run of games. Obviously, we know Kobe Mayo is one of the Orioles' premier young players who just hasn't been able to get into very much a rhythm. But if you go over and look at the month of July, obviously it's not an incredibly good month, but it was solid. In the month of July, in the full month of July, where he played almost every single game in that month, he was batting to 246. He had a home run and he had 8 RBIs of his 9 on the season. So all of his dirty work was in the month of in the month of June, not July. But Kobe Mayo in the month of June, he was incredible. 246 total average in that month. And, there was a time where he had 5 hits in 4 games, and it was going excellent for Kobe Mayo. And it was a little confusing why he wasn't getting any starts recently. But he does get the start today against the Guardians, and he actually has a very good overall game today. Doesn't really, have a bunch of crazy numbers, but he does go 1 for 1 with a run scored, but he gets walked 3 times. So some elite patience from Kobe Mayo in this game to get on base and do his thing. Jacob Stallings goes 0 for 2. Ryan O'Hearn comes in as a pinch hitter. He gets a base hit. His average goes up to 280, and then Austin Jackson comes in later and doesn't get a hit. So the offense overall wasn't necessarily great at all, and it wasn't enough to win, to be honest with you, because the pitching wasn't great overall. The offense wasn't great overall, and this was just such an Orioles loss in general. Then going over to the pitching, Brandon Young got the start in this game, and surprise, surprise, he did get another loss in this game. In his 5 starts, he is 0-5 in his 5 starts. But I will say, I think this is the last game that we're going to see Brandon Young for hopefully the foreseeable future, because there was some news that came out right after this Orioles game ended, and that is that tomorrow Zach Eflin will be making his return to the mound and be pitching for the Orioles and starting for the Orioles tomorrow. So I do think that Brandon Young's role is going to be gone. I think we're going to send Brandon Young back to AAA, replace him obviously with Zach Eflin, and then eventually when Cade Povich comes back, I don't really know what we're going to do with the lineup then. I think that obviously Tony Mancelino is going to have to make that decision himself. But Brandon Young does get the loss today. He goes 4.1 innings, gives up 4 hits, 3 walks, and 3 runs, and does give up a home run as well. A 73 pitch count across 4 innings. His ERA is a 7.34. Not a great game overall. 4 innings, 3 runs. Not good overall. Let on 7 base runners. Just not a good start. By Brandon Young. And then the bullpen didn't really do anything crazy. Andrew Kittredge, 0.2 innings, doesn't give up a run. But then Gregory Soto goes 1 inning, gives up 2 runs and 3 walks and 2 hits. And then Yunier Cano also gives up a run as well. And then Sir Anthony Dominguez is perfect in the inning that he pitched. But overall, the bullpen gave up 3 runs. The starter today gave up 3 runs. So overall, not a great game pitching-wise or hitting-wise for the Orioles. And, I mean, we've seen this countless times this season. In this series against Cleveland, the Orioles are down 2-0 in this series. And if the Orioles lose at least one of the next 2 games, then that means that they would have officially lost the series. But if the Orioles can go out there and win tomorrow and Thursday, then the Orioles, at minimum, can split the series 2-2 and keep the below 500 deficit at 12 games. But going over to tomorrow, obviously, Zach Eflin is going to be making his return tomorrow. It says Charlie Morton here. It's not going to be Charlie Morton. It is going to be Zach Eflin for the Orioles. Let me just make sure real quick that my calculations are there. Yeah, so Charlie Morton will not be starting tomorrow for the Orioles. It is going to be Zach Eflin, who's going to be making his comeback to the mound for the Orioles. So that's obviously very cool to see. Cool to see that Zach Eflin is back in business. Obviously, he hasn't pitched in about a month. He's been on IL for a while. He was on IL for a little bit as well previously in this season. And overall, to start the year, he was amazing. Went on IL, came back, was bad. And his past 4 starts have been pretty horrible for the Orioles, but hopefully he can kind of snap out of it and put on a couple good starts in a row, because at this point, I don't think Zach Eflin's going to re-sign with the Orioles next season. He is a little bit, he is still a little young. He still can be of value to a lot of teams, and Zach Eflin is a very big prime trade candidate in this upcoming trade deadline. So, to be honest with you, I'd rather just get him off my hands and move on and get something for him, and then just kind of, look forward to the future. But Zach Eflin, hopefully he can go out there tomorrow and have a very solid start, and hopefully he can string on a couple good starts before the trade deadline ends, boost his trade stock a little bit, and we'll see what Mike Elias does from there. And the next thing that I wanted to go over is the Baltimore Ravens training camp starting today. Obviously, it is a very, very exciting time to be a Ravens fan. You look at this team that they have right now, and there is no flaws on this team. ESPN ranked them as the most complete team in the NFL. They are ranked number 1 over the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. And the Baltimore Ravens, I mean, I've said it before, this team has the potential to arguably, if they go out there and win a Super Bowl this season, and you look at the team on paper, and you look at how everyone is, you look at all the veterans that they brought in that is committing to this season and taking less money to try and go in a ring, if you look at the Orioles team on paper as it is this season, if the Ravens go out there and win the Super Bowl this year, this could potentially be the greatest Ravens team we've ever seen in the history of the franchise. Obviously, we know how good that 2000 Ravens team was, how amazing these defenses have been. This defense is no different. This defense has the potential to be one of the best defenses in the NFL, if not the best defense in the NFL. And the offense has that same type of firepower, obviously, with Lamar Jackson leading the charge forward, with Derrick Henry, with Zay Flowers, with Rashad Bateman, with Isaiah Likely, with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, the list goes on and on and on about this Ravens team and how amazing that they are built going into this season to go win it all. But today was the official start of training camp. Obviously, training camp is a big, big, big deal in the NFL. It's a big deal. Obviously, when training camp comes around, it's a big deal, obviously. Training camp comes around, and around that time, every single time training camp happens, you just kind of get that feeling in your stomach like, wow, this really is happening. We're really back in the NFL season. We're really back in football mode, and the Ravens are back in that football mode once again. I'm going to show you all a couple videos that the Ravens Twitter page posted today. The first one being DeAndre Hopkins making his way into the facility, into the Under Armour training facility today with the Ravens. Obviously, it's very beautiful outside in Baltimore at that time. DeAndre Hopkins walking in to the facility. Obviously, 5 years ago, this would be elite. But DeAndre Hopkins is still that guy. We understand that he's not going to have that crazy big wide receiver 1 role that he's had for most of his career. He understands his role as a wide receiver 3, and just to be someone reliable for Lamar Jackson, to be someone reliable for him, especially in the red zone, somebody that he can go to, somebody reliable, somebody that is going to catch the ball, and somebody that you can go to in situations that if they're dire, if he's getting ran out of the pocket, somebody you can find quick and easy. He's not going to go out there every single week and go out there and have 100-yard games every single day like he did in Houston and like he did in Arizona, but he still can go out there and make big impact plays, especially in the end zone, especially with catching touchdowns. I think that is a big thing that he's going to contribute with this year, but I cannot be more excited to have DeAndre Hopkins in the building. He's just a veteran, man. He's a veteran. He's a leader. He's been around the block. He's been around the block a lot. He went to the Super Bowl last year with Kansas City, and he's here in Baltimore trying to go win a ring and boost that legacy. So he's got a chip on his shoulder. He understands what's going on here in Baltimore. He understands what is at stake. He understands what we're trying to achieve. And obviously, I cannot be more excited to have DeAndre Hopkins on the team. very similar to the next guy I want to show you a video of, and that is Jair Alexander walking into the Under Armour training facility, walking in there like it's the first day back at school. He's got the backpack on. He's looking all happy. He's got the Ravens shirt on as well. Shout out to Jair Alexander. Obviously, whenever we signed him, it was such a crazy moment because nobody knew it was going to happen, and then the Ravens all of a sudden posted it themselves. They broke the news themselves, and it was a crazy moment. Obviously, I made a whole episode about it back whenever it happened, but it's still crazy to think that Jair Alexander is a Raven. You know, for the past couple of years, Ravens fans have been begging and just dreaming of the possibility of this happening. He's still young. He's 28 years old. He's one of the better corners in the NFL as a whole. The Ravens obviously have Jair Alexander. They have Marlon Humphrey, two of the best corners in the NFL on the same team. Tagged that along with one of the best rookie cornerbacks in the NFL last year in Nate Wiggins, and somebody who is a potential rising star. But Jair Alexander in the building, again, brings veteran leadership, knows what he wants to do, wants to go and win. He took a big pay cut to go to Baltimore on a very cheap deal to try and win a ring. So, much like DeAndre Hopkins, I could not be more excited to have Jair Alexander in the building. It boosts that secondary even more. It boosts the cornerback depth even more. And Jair Alexander is going to make a hell of a difference this season for the Ravens and really be somebody that can push them over the top even more than they already were. The next video I want to show y'all is Zay Flowers looking nice, walking in. He's all happy to get in. We know Zay. He's always happy. He's always giddy. He's always excited to get things going. But Zay Flowers walking in the building. He's ready to go. Let's get it. Here we go. Zay Flowers in the building. Obviously, we know Zay Flowers, wide receiver 1 for the Baltimore Ravens. Did not play during the playoffs last season. He was out in that Pittsburgh game, and he was also out in that Buffalo game from an injury that he suffered in that Week 18 game versus Cleveland. If you remember, he did not play in the playoffs, unfortunately. Probably would have made a big difference for the Ravens back in that Buffalo game, but who would have known? Who would have known? Well, not who would have known. Who knows? Obviously that is behind us. The Bills' loss is behind us, and we move forward into this season with a new mindset, a new mentality. Everything that happened last season is last season, and none of that matters. You use that as motivation going into this season, and you go out there and get what needs to be done. This team knows what's at stake. This team knows what is ahead of them. This team knows what their goal is. It's that big, shiny, silver Lombardi trophy. That is the only thing that will satisfy this Ravens team and their fans at the end of the year. Because obviously, for good reason, the general consensus around this team is that they just cannot perform in the playoffs. So the best regular season team in the NFL, but when it comes to the playoffs, they don't perform. Lamar doesn't perform. The players don't perform. They crumble under the pressure, and that's kind of been the consensus basis of this team, and they have a chance to really go out there and change that narrative with this team that they have this year and get the job done. And the next thing that I want to go over is some more videos. Obviously, Namande Madubuike walking in with the Hakeem Olajuwon shirt. He is ready to go for that defense. Another picture of Jair Alexander. Even the Ravens admin said still can't believe this is real. And I have to 100% agree with them. I still can't believe it's real as well. Ravens fans have been wanting him on their team for the past 2 years now. The Ravens have obviously struggled with cornerback depth, but now it really couldn't even get any better. They also have Chidobe Awuzie as well. So just another veteran guy, another very solid corner, adding to this cornerback depth room. And Jair Alexander, obviously teammates with Lamar Jackson out in Louisville, here with the Ravens and here to try and win that Super Bowl. And the last photo I wanted to show y'all is the man of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend, MVP, 2-time MVP himself. Should have been 3-time. We'll talk about that another day if you want. But, the man himself, the GOAT himself, Mr. Lamar Jackson, walking in the training camp, looking happy. The hair looks good. The fit looks good. The Era 8 apparel, his own brand, repping his own brand. You love to see it. Lamar Jackson walking in the training camp. He is here. He is ready to go. He knows what's on his mind. Obviously, he is the most important player on this team regarding everything moving forward. All the hate that gets thrown at him, all of the narratives that get thrown at him as well. He has a chance to really bundle all that up again, move forward, and really prove everybody wrong. This team, there's no excuse why they can't win it all. They have every single thing you need. You have the quarterback that you want, the running backs, the weapons, the offensive line, the D-line, the edge rushers, the secondary, everything. You have everything that you need to win. And now they got to go out there and just execute and get the job done. And it's going to be on the shoulders of this man right here, number 8, Lamar Jackson. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow up on Spotify. Make sure to like the video on YouTube as well. If you want more content, make sure to click the link in the bio of whatever platform you're listening on. Make sure to follow the Twitter. Make sure to follow the Instagram. Posting updates on both of those accounts. Make sure to give those a follow. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. Obviously, this is episode 100, so we had to make it a little bit longer than usual. Obviously, with Ravens training camp starting, with the Orioles game, recapping that as well. It's a good day. Obviously with the Orioles losing, it's not a good day, but it's a good day to be in the football mood with training camp starting. And this is just the beginning of the show. This is episode 100. I appreciate all the support again. I'll say it countless times over and over and over again. But you guys have no idea how much I love talking Baltimore sports. This is my life. This is my passion. This is everything that I love are both of these teams. And I'm having the time of my life being able to share my opinions, recap games, and share news with y'all as well every single day regarding these teams. I want nothing more in the world than that. Again, this is just the beginning of the show. The production, things going on, big things coming soon, big potential interviews. Big production changes as well to make this show the best it can possibly be for you guys. Because again, I'm doing this for y'all. I'm doing this for the listeners. I'm doing this for the people that want to know about Baltimore sports and for the people who want to learn about Baltimore sports. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this space as well. Again, this is just the beginning. I plan on doing this for a super, super, super long time. This is episode 100, and cheers to a great another 100 more. Obviously, football season right around the corner. That content is going to start ramping up really today and tomorrow, obviously. Going to still be going over Orioles games as well. But again, I really, truly do appreciate all you guys, all the support you guys have given me. You guys have no idea how much it means to me, how happy I am doing the show. Even though sometimes I get mad, sometimes I'll start ranting a little bit about the Orioles for good reason, obviously. But I still do love them to death. I still love the Ravens to death, no matter what happens. And I appreciate you guys so much again for all the support. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll have an episode up sometime tomorrow talking about the Orioles and Guardians Game 3, and also talking about the first practice for training camp for the Ravens. So another jam-packed episode tomorrow. I'll see y'all later. Y'all have a great y'all's day. Thank you guys again for all the support. Episode 100 is here. It's surreal. It's crazy, man. I really do appreciate it all. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. You have a great y'all's day. Go O's, go Ravens, and peace out.